Welcome to Knit Stars, formerly known as Loops, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You may know them from their Knit Stars masterclasses online, but did you know that they also have over 6,000 square feet of yarn space?
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I am one of the people that work here. I'm one of the Loops troops here at Knit Stars, and I teach knitting and I crochet, and I work here in the store with some other wonderful people, and I'm going to give you a tour of the shop today.
All right, so let's take a look around. What do you have going on in the back?
Okay, well, back here is where we do all of our shipping and storage. So all of this is our stock for now. And everything that is sold online comes out of this back place. Our team members put their hands on it, sign a note, and we ship everything from here, and it goes straight out the door.
I love that you do a handwritten note.
Yes.
That's sweet.
Yes. It's important because
Yeah.
everything about our craft is so intentional, and we want everyone to know that their orders are super important to us and give us a job and let us keep doing the things that we love.
Absolutely. And then you come out here and you've got all these different tables and areas. So, what's going on at this table with the iPad?
This right here, we have iPads that we've even got a bunch of them charging back here that anytime someone needs to get on Ravelry and check something, they can. Or if they find a yarn and they're like, oh, I need a project for this, they can get on there. We also have beginning videos on learning to knit, learning to crochet, just some of the very basic things that we will sit hands-on with you, but then sometimes you need a little refresher and you want to come back and take a look at it. And so we've always got those available for anyone.
I mean, yeah. Looking up tutorials.
Absolutely. That's the way that I learned how to knit. So it's perfect. And then this is our maker space where we have groups that will come in here and they make use of the space and visit. It's a great place to meet new friends. When we have someone that moves to Tulsa and they're trying to get plugged in, we'll tell them to come at a certain time and they get to meet a set group of people. And it's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then you've got another little lounge space here.
Yeah, if someone wants to be a little bit more comfortable, or if you come and you are not a knitter or a crocheter and you have to sit and wait for your person to shop, it's a great place to sit and have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever and relax, not rush your knitter.
Oh yeah, well speaking of that, I guess we can show over here what you've got.
Right here is our bar, and we always offer water and soda and snacks. They're complimentary. And right now we offer a local Tulsa beer and wine or a mimosa, if you like, that are for purchase. And actually very soon we're getting ready to shift over to complimentary adult beverages. And then back here, these are our offices. And right now you're seeing our offices in a really interesting state, because we are getting ready for our Master Season 8, our Master Classes Knit Stars shipment coming. And so these are all yarn kits for people that have purchased the season and seen the kits. And I know this is one of the most interesting yarns that I've seen.
Excited about this one.
Yeah, this is Lopi, and it's unspun yarn, and it comes in these plates that are all together in a big hank, and you have to separate them manually. Yeah, there's 19 of them all bundled together. Sorry, 18 of them. And you have to pull it apart and snip it to get it to come into the plate. And this is about 140 grams of yarn.
Wow.
I mean, it's a significant amount.
That's super cool.
Yep. And it just felts beautifully back together. So we're really excited about this kit because Icelandic knitting is its own craft, and it's beautiful. And actually, I can show you over here. Here's some of the other yarns that are going to go with it. It'll be this bit of Lopi and this. And then it's carried along with this love story
Oh, I can't wait to see
in
that.
there. Oh, it's a stunning sweater. I think it's the first time that we've done a sweater in the master classes. And so it allowed each of our people to choose their size. So it's all inclusive from extra small to 3XL. And so that was really nice, but it's actually very affordable yarn as well. So I'm really excited to see the masterclass from Helen, because I don't know anything about Icelandic knitting. I've never done it, and I've never used the unspun yarn. So I think it'll be exciting. Well, this right here, when you enter into our store, if you want to see a little bit about our story, we have this neat little interactive wall where you can touch some of the swatches of our house yarns and just see a little bit of the journey that our owner Shelley went on in creating the store. It's a really great story. She's a very interesting person, and she created Knit Stars because she wanted a place where everybody felt welcome, whether they had children or whether they were alone and trying to find a community, whether they were new, whether they'd been knitting forever, it didn't matter. She wanted a place where everybody could come and just really feel good about their yarn and their experience, and where they felt welcomed, where they really found their people. And then as you walk into our store right here, we will always have on this table things that are seasonal. And so right now we've got flax and cotton and silk, and then we've got the projects behind that are made out of those. And on all of our projects, we've always got the tag that'll show you the name of it and what yarn it uses. It'll actually tell you who in the store made it, so that's kind of fun, because if that person is working, then you can ask them questions about it. And then on the back is a QR code where you can go straight to Ravelry to find the pattern.
Now we're in the yarn area. So how do you have yarn organized?
Well, in this part of the store, we have the yarn organized from lace weight or fine fingering, and then it moves through your sport, your DK, your worsted, your Aran, your bulky, your super bulky, all the way around. And all different fibers are in here. This is not categorized by the company or the yarn type. It's simply by weight.
Awesome. And then y'all have something special here. You have your own lines of yarn.
We do.
Let's go around and see what you have.
We're really excited about them. Well, this one's not quite ours, but we did partner with Earth Yarn at our 16th anniversary. And so these right here all have Tulsa names. And so if you're visiting or if you're a local and you just want to celebrate that, this right here is called Golden Driller. And I don't know if you've seen that since you've been here, but at the Expo Fairgrounds, there is like a 4-story statue of a golden oil man standing there, which is what Tulsa was founded on. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. They're named after our museums and different things like that. So those are fun. But what you're talking about, Natalie, I think are our Knit Stars yarns. And we're really particularly excited about these because we work directly with a wonderful place in Peru that manufactures the yarn and dyes it all specifically for us. And the reason that it's exciting is because it is always a luxury fiber, tends to be very soft because our owner Shelley is super fond of really soft yarns. But we can offer them at a much discounted price because there's no middleman. And most of these will have merino wool, alpaca, silk, things like that are definitely usually at a higher price point that you can really make a sweater or a large shawl for not as much as you would expect to pay. So that's one of them. This is our smoothie, and it comes in this range of colors right there, really fun for summer. And then we're gonna come all the way over here to see some of our others. Our newest one is right here, and this is called Ether, and this is actually a blown yarn. So it features a chainette on the inside, and the alpaca and the wool have been blown into it. But it's got this beautiful tonal quality to it, and this is it doubled, it'll make a bulky, or you can knit with it singly if you want to. So that's our newest one, and those are right there. Then this is probably our biggest house yarn that we have, and this is called Loops Luxe Chunky. Our name used to be Loops, and we just rebranded as Knit Stars about 1.5 years ago. And so this still has our older name on it, but this is an alpaca silk blend for $14, which is super reasonable, and it is just the softest, and it just gets softer, and it's just beautiful for all different wraps or cowls or anything that you'd like to make for the winter. It is very warm.
That was not all the yarn.
Nope, not even close. Not even close.
So what is happening here on this wall?
This wall right here is the beautiful result of our collaboration with African American dyers. And so this here is Mitchell's Creations from Tara Mitchell. And you can see a sample up here of just how beautiful her yarn. The sheen of this to me is just absolutely stunning. And then this right here is Lola Bean. And again, colors dyed for us. This is Adela Colvin. And so this is just something that we're really proud to support and to have.
I love it. I'm seeing a lot of, I think, Gigi orange around, not just here.
There's definitely a lot of influence of Gigi. Gigi and Shelley are quite good friends. And so there's definitely some influence of Gigi's here for sure. Over here is one of the neatest things that I've always loved about this store since its inception. This is called our Hot Loops wall. And twice a year, Shelley will handpick projects. Sometimes they're ones that have been designed by people that work here, and sometimes they're just things that we've chosen off of Ravelry. But we will feature specialty yarns to go with these.
Wow.
And a while ago, we used to do live in person where you could come to the party and we'd debut the projects. Well, now after the quarantine, so many things went to online that now we do a Zoom launch party, and we have over 1,000 people that will get online and they're able to see the projects. This year it was Gigi was our spokesperson, and Rochelle of Moondrake Yarns was here. She's a local dyer for us. And they were both here debuting the projects and the yarns and the colorways. And so this wall right here will always be called the Hot Loops wall. It'll have pictures of models wearing the things, and then all of these projects are made by the people that work in the store.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so people can always ask questions about them. This right here was the plant-based yarn that I was telling you about. This is our Knit Stars Plant-Based Princess, and it is hemp, bamboo, and cotton. And it is perfect for summer. It knits up beautifully, and so we debuted a crochet top and a crocheted bag and a crocheted bucket hat and a really cute tank top in that yarn for the Hot Loops wall. And then all of this is Rochelle's beautiful yarn. And then once this is gone, this is gone. We don't actually get this back in stock. Yes.
So if you see something you like,
if you see something you like, you have to grab it. Actually, what happens at the launch party is a lot of the colorways will sell out and they'll do a second dye lot for us. But then once this is gone, it's gone.
Wow, that's super cool.
But yeah.
It's kind of nice though that you're on Zoom because then more people can participate.
Absolutely, and that's what we found. And I think that's kind of what the quarantine showed us is that the world can be a lot bigger and smaller at the same time than we ever imagined. And so what we do now is we rope this section off, and so our local people get to come and see it a little bit early. So that's their plus for being local. And they'll get to see the projects, but they can't buy it. It goes live at the Zoom party, and then everybody has the same amount of time and chance to buy it. Yes, and they give away prizes, and it's super, super fun. Well, this is also a local dyer. Half of this wall right here.
So much color.
Stopping right here, yes. This is Ross of Twisted Ambitions, and he also is a very local dyer. He just lives about 20 minutes away, and we're just in love with his color palette. It's obvious that he's a very joyful, joyful person, and we are excited because I probably can't say. There's a little something special coming with Twisted Ambitions. So look in the fall. Coming up in the fall, just take a look, yes. Yes, there will be some messages about that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything or not. And then these are, we used to have a Loops Club kit where you could subscribe, and 4 times a year they would send you a special kit. And these are just some of those kits that we had a little bit of extra yarn that we're offering for people to get the pattern and the yarn, and just super fun colorways that were dyed specifically, again, for us.
Oh, wow.
That you can't get anywhere else.
That's super cool. So all of these here,
these right here, these are all dyed specifically for us. Yes.
Wow. That's so fun.
I love that Shelley really has a heart for working with local dyers, small companies, just people who are just trying to find their way in the world and make a place for themselves. And it's just such a privilege to be able to support people doing really awesome things and making beautiful quality products. I mean, we're not saying anything against big yarn companies, but we love the small ones too.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to pick now what to take home.
One of the things that we really love about our store, we mentioned before that everybody is welcome here, but our owner, Shelley, when she had young children, she really wanted to start a project, and she went into a store with her 3 small children and was basically treated like a pariah. And they were just like looking down their noses at her, wondering why you would bring children into a store where there's expensive things. And so one of the things in all the different locations that Shelley has put our store is that there is always a center for children. And so this is an interactive wall, and to be honest, I see grown-ups messing with it too. You can come in, you can move the pegs around, you can take things out. I remember I made this for a child whose name started with a B, and they wanted a bee on the wall. And then someone wove this really interesting thing. That's actually been up here for a while, but it's just a fun sensory thing for kids to do while they're parent or grandmother or dad or whoever is in here looking for yarn. The kids get to keep busy and do something fun with fiber as well.
From the back parking lot, there are 2 ways to get in. The first path that is straight goes to the elevator, but first I'm going to show you the stairs. So you're going to come this way, and you're going to see the Knit Stars thing right here. And just turn this corner, and we're going to go up the first set of stairs. Then you come into this door. Still going to the right place. Go up another set of stairs. You can also see this really cool art piece right here. We're right back where we started in the parking lot, but this time we're gonna go up the elevator, and I would definitely recommend this path. You're just not gonna see it at first because it's not specifically labeled. So just come straight until you see the sign that says elevator, and you're gonna come in this door. It looks like it's locked, but it's not. Come right around the corner, and you'll see right here that Knit Stars is on the 3rd floor. That's perfect. Okay, so tell us about what kind of community things you have here in the store.
Okay, well, we have Thursday night knit night, which is super cool. We normally close at 5, but we keep the store open until 7. And so there's some people that if they work all day and can't come into the store, they come straight here after work. They might grab something to eat quick. And then we have this whole space is filled up with people that come in to knit.
Awesome.
And if you're looking for a knitting group, this is a great place to come because if you don't sit at this table if you don't want to meet new people. So that's really fun. And then on Saturdays, we offer free classes in learning to knit or crochet, and it's a personal class. You don't need to sign up for it. You just walk in the door, and either Margaret, Mitzi, or I will sit down with you at a table and teach you to do what it is that you want to learn.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's like a little private class.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I can definitely see myself getting comfortable here at the table. Get a coffee.
Absolutely.
Might do that actually.
Hey, our coffee machine makes mochas, lattes, Americanos, espressos. It makes everything. It's like the Cadillac of coffee machines.
All right, well, maybe we'll go do that. Now we're going to sit down for an interview with Knit Stars owner, Shelley. She's joining me today on Zoom, and you'll see why in just a moment.
Okay, I'm Shelley Brander. I'm founder of Knit Stars. And right now I'm coming to you from where I live, which is in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. I visit back to Tulsa on a regular basis to check in on the store, but we have now grown into a global business, and this is the global headquarters, my home here in Florida.
And you have such a beautiful, amazing view of the beach. I can totally understand why
Yeah,
you'd love to be there.
I love Oklahoma. I grew up, I've been there almost my whole life, except for a little time in college at TCU. I was landlocked my whole life, but my family is all there. My store is there, tons of friends there. So when I had the opportunity to move here and Knit Stars became more global, I grabbed it. So I love it. But my family, my parents are still back there. I come in and visit every 1 or 2 months. Every 1 or 2 months, I'm back. In fact, I'm headed back there this coming week. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's so fun. So tell us about the history of Knit Stars, because one, you didn't start out the storefront as Knit Stars, so we can make that connection for people, but also you have a really interesting backstory of when you were a knitter and you were going into stores looking for yarn, and you kind of use that to create this amazing community space that you have now. So take us way back, tell us the year and how you just originally started with Knit Stars.
I'm like, what was the year? It was 2005, I believe. I had been working in branding. So my background was in I was a copywriter and broadcast producer, had a branding agency, but I was starting to burn out on that. And I'd learned in it when I was 16. And I'd always felt really isolated as a knitter. And I also, whenever I would go into shops, for any type of yarn shop, I, of course, loved yarn shops. Every knitter loves yarn shops. But I would really struggle to find something on trend to wear because I was like a teenager and then in my early 20s. And I would have trouble finding on trend projects, and I'd have trouble matching it to the yarn. And because I lived in Oklahoma, I really liked cotton yarns or all season plant-based yarns, and I had trouble finding those. And so I thought, I want to create a more modern yarn shop where I can easily find on-trend things to make and easily match to yarns that I want to work with. And in a more modern day setting that's more community focused and more customer service centric than the shops that I had personally experienced since I was a knitter. So I was looking to create those connections that I knew were possible that I weren't really seeing happen in my local yarn shop. And so I decided to open that shop, and it was originally called Loops in 2005, so almost 18 years ago.
Wow.
Is that, yeah, 18 years ago.
I think
Wow.
so.
And so my original intention was actually, I had this dream of moving completely out of branding and franchising. And I loved the shop. It took off right away. We had a specific concept called a Hot Loops wall, which was all of the really cool projects curated so that people could walk in, like I always wish that I could have, walk in, grab a great project, pick out the yarn, pick out the pattern, know what it's going to look like, walk out the door and cast on. And so it did take off right from the start. And about 7 years later, I decided to open a second store as kind of a test and tiptoe into franchising. And that was cool for a while until it wasn't so cool. It became challenging. And I decided to take it down to one store, but a larger store in between the two.
Was that one also in Tulsa?
It was. So there were
Okay.
we had 2 locations in Tulsa. And at the time, I know that sounds a little bit crazy, I think, especially to people that haven't been to Tulsa, but Tulsa is actually, it's like 500,000 people at the time for Tulsa proper. And at the time, there was major construction going on that was dividing the city kind of into 2 cities. And so to put a second location, it was literally like people from South Tulsa wouldn't travel to Midtown Tulsa and vice versa because it was such a traffic mess. So it was a good time to try it out. And I had moved to South Tulsa and wanted to try a shop closer to where I lived, just personally, selfishly. So, so yeah, it was fun for a while. I think it elevated people on the yarn scene when I would go to the trade shows and stuff like, what, you have 2 stores? So it was kind of like, we were a little more on the map, I guess, nationally. People thought that was cool. So But so it was actually a really tough decision to decide to go back down to one. I actually write about it in my book. I have a book called Moving the Needle. It was really tough. It was like it felt like a big failure. I was to the point of, I thought I'll just shut the whole thing down rather than go backwards from 2 to 1 store. But actually, literally the day we opened that we closed the 2 and we opened the 1, and that's when everything really started to take off. And that was about 8 or 9 years ago, where things really, it was the momentum shift, major momentum shift that changed a lot of things. So the failure turned out to be a big win, but sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's incredible. So you had the 2 locations, and instead of just moving like back to one, you're like, no, we're going to close them both. We're going to start like fresh, kind of
Yeah.
this new space.
Mhm.
And but that's still not your current location, right?
That's right. So
Okay.
that store was still called Loops. So we had Loops 1, we had Loops South, we had both of the smaller stores, closed them both down, built one big one in the middle, called Loops. And the thing that was interesting was I hadn't really counted on, I knew it would make things easier operationally. But what I didn't count on was I didn't realize how the energy had been divided. Like the customer energy, the customers were divided, the team was divided, the yarn was divided. People would fight over which yarn was in which store and stuff. You know, it was just like the energy just instantly centralized in one location. So that magic that happens in a great yarn shop, where like the buzz in the store was immediate, you know, just everybody coming back together, and that there was a community sense. And we'd always had couches, and like very intentionally from the beginning, we created a community space with couch and tables and lots of different nooks and crannies to hang out. But the combined energy of all of that in one place, like the couch was always full, the table was full, like all the store was just buzzing. So that and then shortly thereafter, really shortly thereafter, I ran across this course on online launching, and I came up with the idea to start a club called Loops Club, where we would ship our curated designs match with yarn out into the wider world, which now there's a lot of, you know, options out there, but at the time that was a really new idea. And it exploded. And it also, so what it did was it helped us reach way more people around the world, like build that more national, international brand. But it also solved the problem of seasonality that plagued so many yarn shops and had plagued us for so long, where like feast or famine, right? Everyone wants it when it's cold outside and in fall and winter, and then it's harder to get through the spring and summer months. But by sending out kits every month, it really evened out our, you know, just our whole financial situation, and made it where we could buy year round, gave us more buying power. It just made things more even keeled for everyone. Took a lot of stress out. And that was another huge milestone. So yes, so the store today is now called Knit Stars, because what happened was that club went bananas, and then I went to an online market. Well, okay, I'll back up just a little bit, because it is a crazy story. I mean, I still can't believe how it all unfolded. So when our club went bananas, I sent a little video to the guy who taught the online launching course, thanking him, because it had just like completely changed our business and my life. And I ended up winning a contest, like a case study contest. And they came and filmed in Tulsa. They came and filmed the story of what had happened with this club.
Wow.
And as part of the prize, I got to fly to the online launch gathering. Like it was 1,000 people that launched, right, at this online marketing thing. I'd never heard of any of this. This was all totally new to me. At that event, I got approached by a woman who had done an online summit in the calligraphy space. And she asked if I would partner with her and do the same kind of thing in yarn. And we decided to call it Knit Stars. So I had 2 businesses. I had Loops, the store, and the online store associated, and the club. And then I had a separate business called Knit Stars. And it had to stay separate because they were 2 separate entities. But then Knit Stars, and we can get into that in a little bit, what that original thing was, just completely blew up. And so eventually I bought out my partner several years ago, many years ago. And we decided last year last year. Wow. A little over a year ago, to rebrand everything under the umbrella of Knit Stars, because that's really become what we're most known for. So the new store, the current store that you visited, is the Knit Stars flagship store, our one and only yarn shop, 6,000 square feet. And it's more of an experiential store than any of our other ones, because it's really meant to be the embodiment of the Knit Stars masterclass experience in yarn store form.
Yeah, and it's so cool. And everyone will have seen it before they hear from you, but it's like your story is so amazing. You've been in business for 18 years, but you have stayed in business for 18 years because you have changed and adapted and created new businesses and consolidated businesses. And tell us the name of your book one more time.
Oh yeah. So the name of the book is, I'm like, I have to look over at it because our newsletter has a slightly different name. It's Move the Needle, Yarns from an Unlikely Entrepreneur. And it started out, it's kind of like part memoir, part business book. It was published by Hay House under their business imprint, but I originally wrote it as a memoir. So it's kind of the whole story, really the story of my life, but particularly of the business these last 18 years. And then a lot, like I wrote it because I was always having to tell the story to people, and they were like, this should be a book. Like this would help other people be inspired. Like if you could do this in yarn, you can do this in anything, right?
Right.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, if I write it as a book, maybe it'll help more people, which it ended up, it just shocked me how big the book went. Actually, it made the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. That was kind of exciting. That was my ultimate goal, because Wall Street Journal list is more of a, for business titles, and tends to be dominated by men, or has historically been dominated by men. The week that mine made that list, it was me and Brene Brown. We were the only two women on that list,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I'm proud of that, because I really want to inspire and support other women business owners to, especially in making and creative spaces, to grow their business and be successful. So that is the book. And it's very personal. It's very transparent. I'm like, when I meet people that have read the book, I'm like, everything now. And a lot of people say they read it in one sitting, which is kind of funny. So for whatever reason, it seems to resonate, which is cool.
Definitely. It's on my to be read list. I'm very excited to learn more about you and everything like that. And as somebody who is like, in this business doing something different, but like always trying to grow and adapt, because I do want to be here for a long time. I'm like, okay, gotta read. And like, it's just so cool to hear from other women in the creative business. Now, we'll talk briefly about Knit Stars, which I know you have your Knit Stars flagship store, but you also have the Knit Stars master classes. And how did that get started? And how did that grow to like what it is today?
Yeah. So again, I was approached by a woman who had done what's called an online summit in the calligraphy space. And a summit, generally speaking, is a grouping of classes that gets published or aired at the same time, kind of a collaborative effort. But generally, like her summit that she had done was calligraphy people, individual calligraphers who were modern calligraphers who filmed themselves in their studio, doing calligraphy. And but when she approached me, she didn't really know the yarn space, wasn't sure where she would start, like what kind of people would teach, etc. When she first approached me, I got to say, I was like, there's no way. I'm way too busy with this club and the store. Like, I can't take anything else on. But I started thinking about it, and there were two reasons I ended up saying yes. One was I loved, like, my background was broadcast production. I love storytelling. Like, I really love getting to know people, interviewing them. Like, when I was in branding, my specialty was like authentic storytelling in ads and things like that. Like, true, not adsy ads. So I love that. And the other thing was, when I started my little shop in Tulsa, I would always try to reach out to the big stars, like the big name teachers that I knew were teaching at events like in New York City or in the Pacific Northwest. And they'd always be like, wait, where are you again? Like Tulsa. And I couldn't convince them to come. And I mean, I tried and I tried and I tried. And I finally got a star named Lucy Neatbeath that a lot of people will know. She ended up teaching in Knit Star season 4. But I finally got her to come teach in my little Tulsa shop. And it was so personally life-changing for me, like so empowering to sit there with her and get her direct input and see what was possible in her specialty and just how her brain worked. Her specialty was double knitting, but just the way her brain worked. And it was so empowering for everyone. And I thought everyone deserves this. Like everyone deserves to have this level of intimate connection. And then I got to spend time with her. You know, we went to dinner and I got to really know her, you know, beyond just a name on a pattern or a name on a, you know, at an event. And so I'm like, everyone deserves this. So that was the other factor that I said yes when I was approached, was like, what if we could make this possible for more people? And I was thinking particularly about North America. I thought, well, this might go over in North America. We don't know. Like Zoom was not really a thing at that point. Like online learning was not a thing. I think Craftsy was just getting started, but it was more like always from their same studio, just kind of like a cold set, you know, just more down and dirty. No offense. I mean, you know, they've evolved also, but that it just didn't exist. And so that first season, so we opened cart on it. We produced it and we got Stephen West to say yes. It was like amazing. That first group like was Amy Small from Knit College, the first person to ever say yes to me as Knit Star. I got a lot of no's first, but then I got yeses. And because people were like, what is it? They didn't understand it. So when we opened cart on it, the first person to sign on for that season was from Singapore. And then the last person when the cart was open was from Dubai. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, of course, there's people all over the world that like, if it's hard for me to get access in Tulsa, Oklahoma, imagine if you're like in Singapore or Dubai, like, will I ever be able to take a class from Stephen West? So anyway, it was huge right off the bat. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And each season, in the second season, it kind of occurred to me, oh, like I could make this my personal bucket list. We'll go to a different area of the world each year and I can explore the world. And I had never really traveled that much, definitely outside of the US. So it became like the true passion project for me. Like I'm still involved in every single aspect of our business, but the masterclass premiere season that we produce every year is where my heart is the happiest. You know, I love connecting with all the stars, putting the group together each year. Yeses are a lot easier than they used to be because people now, you know, people have come to know and respect what we do. And I think it's really unique because every season, it's a new group of stars. You get to really know the star in what we call our yarn life or lifestyle video. So every workshop opens with where we've gone directly to them into their own home or studio or both. We show what lights them up. We go out and around wherever they live. We go with them wherever they get inspired. And it's like you get to know them before you learn from them. And then after you watch their video and you're feeling really connected with them, then it's this highly well-produced masterclass where you're learning from them. It's well-produced, so it feels like a feature film quality, but you feel very, very intimate, like you're right there with them at the same time. So it's kind of best of both worlds. So now right now we're about to launch our premiere of our 8th season.
Wow.
So we've produced more than 80 masterclasses. And a lot of times people ask, they're not sequential. So there's everything from beginner to advanced, every topic you can imagine. And you don't need to own or watch all the older seasons before you watch season 8. You can jump right in. And I think they're all excellent, but I also think we've taken a big leap forward this year. Every year we try to level it up a little bit more, but yeah, and now we've had people say yes, I never would have imagined would say yes. We've got Jennifer Goodwin, the actress in season 8, Jean Triplehorn was in last year, Jonah Larson, people say, will you ever run out of stars? And absolutely not. Like I have lists hundreds and hundreds long of people I'd love to see in Knit Stars. So yeah, So that's what the master classes are.
That's incredible. And it's so different than like just going somewhere and taking a class from someone to actually be like in their space and getting to know what's going on around them. Like that's a totally unique experience. So
Mhm.
when people get the Knit Stars like master classes, like what exactly are they getting?
So they're purchasing a virtual seat in the online workshops, and you buy them all as a grouping. And that's always been really important to us. People have always asked, can I just buy one? I just want to watch Jennifer Goodwin's workshop, right? But part of the whole purpose from the beginning has been like this idea of rising tide lifts all the boats. Like season one, you might have come for Stephen West, but then you discovered, Megan Fernandez from Pom Pom Quarterly or Amy from Knit Collage, right? And what you think you need isn't always, what you need. And so we've always wanted it to be like a possible discovery of many other techniques and people, and like really understanding the richness of the tradition and how many different approaches there are. So it comes out to less than $25 a workshop, depending on which sign up period.
Wow.
So when you compare that to an in-person and like the travel and all of that, in-person workshops are great. I mean, I love it. Like anybody that has a chance, you should jump at it. But there's other things that happen in person. Well, there's a few. I mean, real life is great. Love real life, but usually teachers up at the front, you don't get a lot of chance to like really interact. There's also this thing that we do as knitters and crocheters is compare ourselves to everyone around us. There's a little peer pressure sometimes. Are they going to be faster or better? And then for me personally, the older I get, the less I remember from an in-person. So, I find no matter how great my notes are, like I might remember 10% of what I learned in a workshop, but with Knit Stars, you own them. So you can watch it and then hit pause, rewind, come back to it. It's just really helpful. I feel like it cements the learning better, at least for me personally. Yeah. So, and again, accessibility, because not only economic and location, but just, people that are unable to travel they have little kids, they've got, other reasons they're unable. I think it's really important to make that available to as many people as possible. So,
Definitely.
mhm.
And being able to see like close up and hands on people's hands is so nice in a video form. It's super, super cool.
Yeah.
So, what is the best way that we can make sure that like we're staying on top of everything that's happening at the Knit Stars flagship store? Because you're doing like cool events there too with your hot loops wall and all of that stuff, which is super fun. And then keeping up with the yearly Knit Stars like masterclasses releases. Like, what's the best way to follow y'all and to just make sure we don't miss anything?
Yeah, we are always doing lots of new things. So probably the easiest way, our website is knitstars.com. Hey, honey. Yes, AirPods
This
in.
is what you get at Knit Stars. You get to get personal and you get to go
Right.
to the home.
I spin my computer around. You can see everything. Yeah. So knitstars.com is the hub for everything. Our Instagram is really up to date. I think that's a great place. It's also at KnitStars. We're on Facebook. We're on Ravelry, but we're not as active there just because we're pretty focused on Instagram, Facebook, and need to be more focused on YouTube. Working on that because we do. Our YouTube is great. We have lots of little nuggets from past seasons. So that's a place people can go and like get a quick overview of what our videos are like and what the experience is like. But yeah, knitstars.com. And then we have a newsletter I've been writing for 18 years now, every single week. And it's called Moving the Needle. And actually, we're looking at a name change. You're the first to know. Another little name change on the newsletter. But it's really great. People really, again, because I love to storytell, I love to tell the yarn stories, the stories behind the yarn, behind the patterns and things like that. That's what we do in the newsletter. We curate kind of what's going on in the yarn world because we think we have our finger on the pulse at least a little bit. And then we always have people love the recipes because I was, a young mom, 3 little kids, and I'm running this yarn store and this branding business. And I'm like, I got to get dinner on the table. So we call it more knitting, less cooking. So easy, quick recipes, People love those. And that's all on our blog also through, you can see the backlog and read the back issues at knitstars.com. You can get to the blog. But people really do love the newsletter. So that's a great way to keep up to date. It comes out every Sunday morning.
I'm always down for cooking less and knitting more. That's great.
And we started to lean into like, well, if we're profiling a star, like in the newsletter, we'll ask them for their favorite recipe along those lines. So you get, again, that little, just, we're big on understanding each other, not just for what we do with our hands, but what we do with our hearts and as whole humans. So we're really big on helping you meet and understand the whole human behind those names on those patterns, behind the name on the skein, you know. We're all people, we're all more than just yarn, you know. So helping people really see the richness of all that and what connects us beyond just the string, you know.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Thank you so much, Shelley, for sitting down with us today. It's been so fun to get to know you more.
Of course. Thank you so much. This has been great.